In the small, sleepy town of Meadowvale, tucked between rolling hills and golden fields, there lived a woman named Clara. Clara was a gardener, though she called herself a listener of the land. Her little plot of earth, known as the Serenity Garden, was renowned throughout the town. It wasn't grand or manicured, but every flower, shrub, and tree seemed to hum with life and love. Clara had spent decades tending her garden, planting seeds, and sharing the fruits of her labor with her neighbors. People said her vegetables tasted sweeter, her flowers smelled richer, and her herbs carried a touch of magic. She laughed off such notions, insisting that it was nothing more than care and patience. But the townsfolk knew better. Clara had a gift, a way of connecting with the world that went beyond mere gardening. However, Clara's life wasn't without sorrow. She had no family to share her joys with, and though she loved the townspeople dearly, loneliness often crept into her heart during the quiet evenings. She had once dreamed of teaching a child to garden, to pass on her knowledge, but life had other plans. One chilly autumn morning, as Clara carried a basket of freshly picked apples to the town square, she noticed a boy sitting alone on the stone bench by the fountain. His knees were drawn to his chest, and his face was streaked with tears. His clothes were worn, his hair tousled, and he looked far too thin for a boy his age. Clara's heart tightened. She approached him slowly, her boots crunching on the cobblestones. "Hello there," she said softly. "Are you all right, young one?" The boy looked up, startled, wiping his face quickly. "I'm fine," he mumbled, though his red-rimmed eyes betrayed him. Clara sat beside him, setting her basket down. She pulled out an apple, polished it with her sleeve, and handed it to him. "Here. It's fresh from my garden. The juiciest in all of Meadowvale, or so I'm told." The boy hesitated, but took the apple. He bit into it tentatively, his eyes widening as the crisp sweetness burst in his mouth. "My name's Clara," she said, watching him with a kind smile. "What's yours?" "Oliver," he replied between bites. They sat in silence for a while. Clara waited patiently, sensing that the boy had something to share but needed time. Finally, he spoke. "I don't have anywhere to go," Oliver admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. Clara's heart broke. She didn't press for details, she didn't need to. The weight in his voice spoke volumes. Instead, she said, "Well, Oliver, I could use a hand in my garden. It's a big job for one person, and I've been hoping for a helper." "What do you say?" Oliver looked at her, searching her face for any sign of pity or ulterior motives. He found none. Slowly, he nodded. From that day on, Oliver became a fixture in the Serenity Garden. Clara taught him how to plant seeds, tend the soil, and nurture the plants as they grew. Oliver, who had always felt out of place and invisible, began to flourish in the garden's warm embrace. He discovered that he had a knack for arranging flowers. Clara let him design small bouquets, which they sold at the market. The townsfolk loved his creations, praising his eye for color and balance. Each kind word lit a spark of confidence in Oliver, one that had long been extinguished. As the weeks turned into months, the Serenity Garden transformed into something even more magical. Oliver's ideas and energy blended seamlessly with Clara's experience and wisdom. Together, they expanded the garden, adding a small pond, a winding stone path, and a cozy bench beneath the willow tree. News of the garden spread beyond Meadowvale, drawing visitors from neighboring towns. Clara and Oliver welcomed everyone, sharing the garden's beauty and their simple philosophy that every seed, with care and patience, could grow into something extraordinary. One day, while they were planting tulip bulbs for the spring, Oliver paused and looked at Clara. "Why did you help me that day?" he asked. Clara set down her trowel and smiled. "Because I saw a seed that needed a little care. And I've learned that even the smallest seed can grow into something wonderful if given the chance." Tears welled up in Oliver's eyes, but this time, they were tears of gratitude. He hugged Clara tightly, and she held him as though he were the child she'd always dreamed of. Years passed, and the Serenity Garden became a symbol of hope and kindness. Oliver grew into a young man, eventually taking over the garden as Clara grew older. But she remained by his side, her heart full of pride as she watched him share the gift of the garden with others. One evening, as the sun set over the hills, painting the garden in hues of gold and pink, Clara sat on the bench beneath the willow tree. Oliver joined her, carrying a cup of her favorite chamomile tea. "Thank you," he said, breaking the comfortable silence. "For what?" Clara asked, though she already knew the answer. "For everything. For believing in me when no one else did. For giving me a place to belong." Clara smiled, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "Oh, my dear boy, you were always meant to bloom. All I did was give you a little light." And as the stars began to twinkle in the twilight sky, the garden seemed to echo her words, its vibrant beauty a testament to the power of love, kindness, and second chances.